Well, can I just say good afternoon to everyone who is tuning in to the Top Farmer Speaks. It's Friday, the third edition of the Top Farmer Speaks. If you're tuning in for the very first time, we do this every Friday between 4 to 5 p.m. on Zoom. And you're welcome wherever you are in Lagos, Nigeria, or around the globe. My name is Manny Essien, as you all know. I am your convener. I am your host for the next hour. So let's have fun interacting. It's a very interactive session. It's not just me talking. And here we learn, interact on exactly what is happening in the agricultural sector of the economy. This platform seeks to integrate, to shed more light on the latest developments and trends in the agricultural sector as a whole. The Top Farmer is your link between yourself and the industry experts, the policymakers, the top farmers, the scientists, the nutritionists. These are the people who we'll be talking to for the next few weeks. And wherever you are, you can link with them right here on Zoom on the Top Farmer Speaks. Let's focus, break down government policies, uncover funding potentials and investment prospects, unearth the latest research and technological advancements in the market in Nigeria. We all know that agriculture has a deep part to play in our economy. And if we are advanced and we apply the modern day, advancements, many of us can be farmers and we don't even have to go to the farm. So we just get the lands, get the mechanisms and get to work. And before you know it, anyone can be a farmer. So that's it. Once again, you're welcome. And remember, if you want to ask a question, you can just send a message to us on the platform and we will pass your question across. If you're a farmer, you're welcome as well to ask questions on this forum from now till 4 p.m. You also have the privilege of sending us an email ahead of time. You can send us your email to info@thetopfarmer.ng. info@thetopfarmer.ng. All right. You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen, stakeholders from around Nigeria. Without wasting time, you know that we start the show with our guest. Just before I introduce you to our guest, maybe you saw a video playing and you didn't know what the video was, kind of like what the video is about. It's a little 3.5, 4 minutes video. I would like you to watch the video so you can understand why we are on this journey called the Top Farmer Speaks. The video will play now in a few seconds, and I'll be back right after that.
I came back from service in 2015. It was very hard to get farm. I contacted friends, but later I got 2 acres of land in Oyo. So I planted corn and cassava. That was in 2015. And in 2016, I did more than that, but today I'm doing 10 hectares cassava farm.
Please tell me and the viewers exactly what your technical challenges are with the land.
If you look at this soil, you can see there is lack of nutrients. The dryness is because there has been no rain for the past 2 months here, and that is the problem of climate.
Okay.
But the lack of nutrients is because it has been used over the years for like 10 years. Every year you use it to plant cassava.
And you mentioned fertilizer. Is there anything else that can be improvised for him? Because you mentioned the soil, the pests. How do you manage it?
Well, for us, the best thing to use is have information. So that's one of the things we use. We digitize information on our farm. You have to have arable land that's cleared of trees in order to start your cultivation.
It must be cleared first,
yes,
before you can work on it.
And that's a big cost for a budding farmer. It can be upwards of 130, 200,000.
130,000 to clear the land before you can work on the land.
Exactly. Without making it one kobo, you have to do that. This year's a great year to grow cassava, selling it for as high as 35,000 naira per ton.
Can you survive without being mechanized?
It's difficult. This is a technology that's been around and it's not adopted here in Nigeria nearly enough. But you can see yield increases upwards of 50% to 100% if you start using mechanization.
Oh, well, I guess you saw a little clip. Yes, something that we are very proud of, being the very first platform to showcase exactly what the agricultural sector of the economy looks like firsthand. And that's why we are going here live on Zoom to continue networking and interacting until more favorable conditions arise in the country. We can go back into the farms in Nigeria and begin to show Nigerians what exactly is happening in the agricultural sector in real time. All right, once again, you're welcome. My name is Manny Essien. I'm here to carry you through all the way to 5 p.m. All right. And of course, as always, our guest speaker has been so kind to us in the last few weeks. And of course, he is a reputable individual. He is a trained mechanical engineering technologist with over 25 years experience working on diverse agro-allied projects across Nigeria and Africa. He is a prominent stakeholder in agro-allied machinery and equipment fabrication in Nigeria. He holds, let me just say, enviable positions in cassava value chain businesses in Africa. So he's a continental hero, and he's a founder and the chairman of the Niji Group. You might want to browse that, N-I-J-I, the Niji Group, which comprises of 4 subsidiaries, namely Niji Lucas Nigeria Limited, and Farms and Allied Services Limited, Niji Foods Nigeria Limited, Niji Institute of Sustainable Agriculture, and Ripples Hotel and Nightclub in Nigeria. I know when you see that nightclub part, you go like, okay, he has covered everything, right? Well, these subsidiaries are operating in agricultural machinery fabrication, crops and livestock production, food processing, Center for Learning Profitable Agriculture, and hoteling tourism business sector. So he has covered the manufacturing, processing, fabrication of the materials that are needed in the farms. He has won several awards, including Century International Quality Era Award, which is a gold category. He won that award in 2015 in Geneva, Switzerland. He is Mr. Kolawole Adeniji. So that's our speaker. As always, great to have him on the show every time. We've learned a whole lot the last 2 weeks, from animal feed to alcoholic beverages to food, adhesive, sweeteners. These are just some of the benefits of cassava, if I may remember. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
It's my pleasure to meet you again, sir. How is the week, sir?
Well, a lot of stress. Everything is stressful. I just quickly rushing because of the program. So I went to the farm. So I'm just returning back from the farm, and a lot of traffic on the roads. So that's why. So
well, you're welcome.
Yeah. I just came in like a few minutes ago. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We understand that this week is a brand new topic, and we are talking about the good.
So can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
Yes, it's good agronomical practices in cassava cultivation.
Yeah, that's it.
That sounds very big, Agronomical, for people who don't know, maybe you can help us to, the grammar is powerful. Well, agronomical practices in cassava cultivation. So you're welcome, sir.
So simply we call it GAP. G-A-P, that's a good agronomical practice in cassava cultivation. So we have it in all the crops, but majorly we are going to be talking about cassava cultivation today. So what are the agronomical practices involved in cassava cultivation? So we talk about land. We talk about pre-planting operations. Out of the pre-planting operation is where you have the selection of your land. You know, the last week, I think I talked about the best land for cassava. So then when you're talking about pre-planting operation, those are the operations you need to do, things you need to do before you even go into cassava operations. So pre-planting operation, you have to select the good land. So your location of the farm, the best land you want to use and how you want to get the land. After getting the land, then you need to go into what we call land clearing. You need to clear the land. We have different types of ways of clearing land. We can clear land with the bulldozers. We can do manual clearing. We can do different type of clearing. So from land clearing, then you now move into, top farmers week. Okay. So you now move into land preparation. So for cassava, we have a different way of preparing land, but I'm going to be talking more on the mechanization. So the land preparation consists of different applications. The first one you need to do is to plow the land. So it depends on the vegetation of the land or what you have on the land. You do the first plowing. So ploughing is by turning the topsoil under, whereby you want to get the best nutrient of the soil. And you really want to allow it to work together. It's like mixing the two nutrients together in order for you to get, and you are losing the soil too. So that's why you call the plowing. So then if you do the first plowing, you wait for like almost, depends on the vegetation you have on the land, between 1 or 2 weeks for it to get decayed. Then you do the second plowing. Then later you do the harrowing. Then if you want to do the ridging before the harrowing, you can ridge. But if you want to use a mechanical planting, you have to harrow or you rotivate. Rotivation is an implement that you have to attach with the tractor that actually rotavates the soil. That's one thing. After doing that, then you go into planting operations. So we have two types of planting. We have manual planting and we have a mechanical planting. So then when you are doing the planting, you have to select the stems, because when you are buying the stem, they bring different kind of stems. And you know, cassava will have different varieties of cassavas. So you have to select, so make sure that the variety of cassava you are planting is actually the type you're supposed to. So you do this selection of the stems, then you go into planting. And during the planting, you have to determine the kind of spacing you want to plant in. Spacing by giving a particular space between one cassava and the other. That's why we call spacing. If you do a good spacing, you may have like almost 12,000 stands per hectare. You may have like 15,000 stands per hectare. So if you do a proper spacing, that determines the yield you are getting and determine how you are going to equally control your width. So that's just it. Then the planting angle. If you are doing manual planting, you plant at an angle. But you are using mechanical planting, you don't need to plant at an angle. So then after planting, we have post-planting operations. The one you do before you plant and when you plant. So after planting, we now move to what we call post-planting operations. So then we talk about the kind of herbicides you want to use to control the weed. So we have to talk about pre-emergence herbicides. Those are the herbicides you want to use. You have to select the type of herbicide you want to use on the land. We have different herbicides, then it depends on what you are using. Then the mixing ratio of your herbicide is very important because of the maturity of the weed or the kind of the weed that grows in the soil. So spraying rate, then the way you spray actually will affect the kind of weed you are getting at the end of, or the kind of how long you can actually control the weed before you can have another weed, emerge on the farm. So that's what we call pre-emergence. That's the one you plant, you spray immediately because before the weeds actually comes out. Then we have a post-emergence. That's one is after you got planting, maybe for another 8 weeks or 6 weeks, depends on the nature of the weed or the nature of the rain pattern that you have, or depends on the effectiveness of the first herbicide you use. So you have to choose the one you are using to control the weed, then the mixing ratio, the spraying matter. So those are the ones you need to do maybe immediately after almost 3 or 4 months after you've planted. So that's to determine what you are getting. Then, cassava, we know that the maturity is between 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 months. So then after that, you think of harvesting. So, and the maturity period. Now, I think I mentioned the maturity period. You can, if you plant well and you have a good soil, and maybe you use fertilizer, you can get some cassava mature within almost 10 months. But for you to have what we call good dry matter content and good starch content, you need to make it, mature enough, maybe like 12 or 14 months. But the moment it grows more, then it tends to have it begin to have some fibers. So which is not actually good for some value chain. So we have different value chain, like one I've said the other time. So, but all those one depends on that one is coming. I think maybe by next week. But for now, that was the best practice we can have for cassava operations. So, I'll question and answer. So, any question you have, let's look at it and let's rub mind together and let's see what we can do to advise on the best gap that's good agronomic practice we can engage in. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We've learned something. GAP stands for Good Agricultural Practices, and these practices,
yes.
Yes, agronomical. It means that you cannot jump the practices. You have to follow them one by one.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's what it means. We have some nice messages from people. They're just greeting us from different parts of the world. This one is from USA. Please indicate your name. Buki Ogun says, what methods do you suggest mostly for clearing and planting 20 acres land? That question came from Buki from the USA.
Madam Buki, if you want to mechanize, you have to use bulldozers to clear or payloader to clear your land, because if you use it, it will help your tractor to help to perform very well. So that's one thing. But if you are doing manual planting, well, you can use a manual clearing. But when you use manual clearing, is not the best. But for 20 acres of land, still a small farm. But if you have money, I advise you use a bulldozer to clear. So for you to be able to mechanize your farm in a bit. So thank you.
All right, Buki, hopefully you've got, you could hear clearly. It's raining in Nigeria, so we might be experiencing some network challenges. But let me just quickly acknowledge everyone who is online with us. This one is from Ernest Obi, who says, good initiative on cassava by Top Farmer. Thank you very much, all the way from Abuja. We're getting more questions. And this one is from Dele Alimi, who says, good afternoon, thanks for the encouraging lecture. Buki says thank you. She has Buki saying thank you, sir. Bello Muniwa, I think it's Bello Muiwa, I think it's your name. She says good afternoon from Dr. M.M. Bello, Maiduguri, Nigeria. So as you are greeting us, send us your questions as well, so we can answer, so that our very great speaker can help you answer them. Dele says, my concern is the post-harvest sales. He's talking about the post-harvest sales. How does a farmer that does not want to go into processing ensure that he gets the best in terms of, a farmer who doesn't want to go into harvesting? How does he ensure that he gets the best in terms of selling his harvest?
Okay, that means return on his investments. Normally, I said it, I think last week, that if you are going to farming, or precisely, you need to have the market before you go into it. And you need to know the cost of selling before you actually venture into farming operations. So that one will save you a lot. So if you don't have an uptake arrangement with someone, that means you cannot guarantee the kind of sales you will get. So if you are lucky to harvest during the scarcity, then you make premium. If you are unlucky to harvest during the glut, that means you are left with home. That's why we say before you grow anything, is either you add value to it, or you might have an agreement with someone that will take from you and at a given cost. So you cannot be planting and after harvesting or before the harvesting are looking for it. It's not the best. It's not the best.
All right. But once again, we apologize. Okay. Remember, you can also send us an email. Remember, the email is info@thetopfarmer.ng. Send you an email as well in case you need to go further beyond your question. Thank you very much, Dele. Great question. This one is from Kayode Folaji, who says, bulldozers remove the topsoil, losing the fertile soil. What can we do to avoid that, sir? I don't know about that. Maybe you can help us answer the question, sir.
Bulldozer doesn't remove the topsoil. So that's why you say you need to make an informed start before you go into farming. So it depends on the people who are clearing the farm for you. If you are clearing for farming operation, there's a way you clear the farm without removing the topsoil. If your topsoil is intact, that means it doesn't remove anything for you. So bulldozer can only help you to fell the trees and pack the trees, and that's the best you can get on the operations. So it is one of the best equipment to clear your land or your farmland. So it doesn't remove the topsoil. If it removes the topsoil, that means it depends on the contractor or the operator or the person that's actually handling the business for you. So that's why we say you need to come for training. Whatever, if you're investing big, you can do a kind of training to understand the integrity of what you are going to. So when they are performing the operations, you know it. So bulldozer is one of the best equipment to clear the land. Thank you.
All right, so sir, we have Buki who is still asking another question. She's asking, say, can you give a rough budget? I know you tried to do this before. A rough budget of, start to finish, what it will cost to start and finish a small cassava farm with like 50 acres.
Okay, 50 acres is still good. That's 20 hectares. So we can do you a rough budget or downward, but not on this platform. We can do it maybe for
per
hectare.
I think that is what
he said. We can do it per hectare, but not on this platform. Just send us an email on Top Farmer. They'll be able to get you the costs of your operations and what you need to do. So it's a simple thing that we can get it to you. We just get each of the unit operations and you are done. So thank you.
Okay, so that question, Buki, you might need to send an email for a direct consultation. That is info@thetopfarmer.ng. Send a proper email there for consultation. Because a lot of questions and answers cannot all be answered on the platform. For the purpose of breaking down, the intricate details involved with the different types of farmlands or areas, all of that. So I think you should send an email for a comprehensive feedback on that your question. And there are so many questions coming in. This one is still, Buki is going in and on more questions. Buki says she hears that you have consultation, and she wants to know more about. Buki, just send an email on that. I'm very sure you will get all your answers from there. So some more questions. This one says, Can you please explain what are the current challenges one will likely face when marketing cassava today? I think the person is looking at, we are now in July. You know, what are the current challenges?
Yeah, July, you don't really have any challenges now because cassava market is good now. You can get value for your money. A lot of people are using cassava now for industrial use, for starch, for flour, for ethanol, for consumptions and some other things. So I think it's a good deal for you to market your cassava now. So you'll be able to plant another one and you can be able to use your stem. That's one of the things. So, but when you market your cassava during the dry season, you may lose your stem, and when you are planting, you have to buy another planting material, which is part of your profit. So any amount you sell now is still better for you than selling on in the dry season. So cassava sales is good now. So just harvest, look for markets, sell. If you know the location of where your farm is, we can link you with some of the optical that will buy from you. So thank you.
Okay, moving on. We have another one from EBX. EBX says the current price of, I think the current price of, is it Gary? Is of a 5 kg bag of Gary is 3,300 naira. So is there anything that your corporation is doing to, you know, bring down the price? I think they're referring to your to your corporation.
No, the price of Gary, you know, one thing about price of Gary, when you don't have any other food competing with cassava, the cost of any cassava value chain product will go up. But now that the maize is coming, yam is coming, and some other crops are actually coming out now, so drastically, the price of Gari will go down. And since people are now harvesting more cassava now, so the price will go down. That's one thing. Then because for now, we call something dry matter content. Because the dry matter content in cassava is higher now than what we have, I think, last 2 months. So the price will come down. Normally, cassava to Gari is supposed to be ratio 4:1. When you harvest 4 tons of cassava tuber, you get 1 ton of Gari. But when you look at the last almost 2-3 months, so you see that when you harvest even 6 tons, you get 1 ton because of the dry matter content. But during the dry season, if you harvest 3 tons, you can get 1 ton. So there's a lot you need to learn about cassava, so before you can really understand the market. So the price will drastically come down, and because of the drought last year, that's what actually make it go up this year. So, but it will come down. Don't worry.
It will come down. Amen to that.
Yes.
Amen to that. And we have 1 or 2 more here. This one is from Coyote, who says this question. I think one of the questions that I'm sure a lot of people are asking is, how do you manage the problem of headsmen destroying your farms? If you go into a farmland or you want to start farming, do you have to invest extra into security apparatuses? Do you have to build a wall, or you keep it open? What advice do you have on that, sir?
Yeah, that's one of the major, is even the biggest problem that farmers are facing. Even people like us that were running a kind of large farm is a problem for us. You have to get the security on the farm. Like my farm, I have over 30 security on the farm, which I suppose not to have anybody on the farm. Look at the costs you are investing on security. Look at us even getting to the farm without even security again. All those ones will go to the cost. And that's part of why the cost of Gari and cost of any food products is going up. And if we don't address the issue of herdsmen, I think we're going nowhere, because nobody is ready to go back to the farm. And the more you go back to the farm, you spend extra money in going back to the farm. Don't forget that the issue of electricity is there. The issue of water is there. You have to do your borehole, you have to do your electricity. You are providing your own security, you have to do your own road. So a lot of compounding issues. So our government needs to sit down and do what we call agribusiness, not paying lip service to farming. We need to think of agribusiness, and that's the best way, and that's the best thing we need to do. Our government needs to sit down seriously and tackle all these things if seriously they don't want the country to go into negative. It's very, very important, because if we cannot produce to feed ourselves, talk less of even exporting that, that's another thing. Another thing is that most of the government policy on the issue of tractors and implementation they are bringing in, that they say is zero duty. They're not saying the truth. There's no tractor you get into. It happens to me to report today. At times it's a zero duty, but you're not paying zero duty. At times you pay almost 35%. At times you pay even 10% in what you are not even supposed to pay for. At times they even delay your goods unnecessarily. So they've forgotten that all those things actually going back to the farm, and you're going to put it on your top of your your produce, and that's one of the reasons why things are going up. And don't forget the cost of diesel are going up. As the cost of diesel are going, all the tractors they are using diesels, all the trucks are using diesels. So we are running back to the serious inflation with all what we are doing, and whereby the government are not there to even do any kind of support. If you are not a son of somebody, or your brother to someone, or you know someone that knows someone, so it's a serious problem. So I think that's the more reason why the S01E issue is part of it. I'm just only saying that it's not only the S01E issue, but some of us who are determined to say we want to make change. That's why we're still remain on the farm. That's why we call ourselves farmer, call our energy. So I'm a farmer, I'm a born farmer. So, so thank you.
Well, okay, so Buki, that's question, very good question. Thank you also to Coyote. The issue concerning Buki is still interacting and saying that in the US, large farms have fences. She believes that Nigerian farms should have large fences as well. I guess so. Maybe we can do a session on the cost of putting fence around.
No, you can't fence a farm. Even in US, some of the farm that you have, they have fence for maybe for ranching and all. They don't have fence. They don't have fence. Europe, all those, they don't have fence. It's only when you have ranching and everything, they do ranching and everything that have fence. No, they don't have. Even in the cities, they don't have fence. You drive along the road, thousands of even kilometers and everything. So you don't have I don't see any fencing on their farm in abroad. If you're trying to do that one, just calculate the cost of fencing, and don't forget that you don't really have a skilled farmers or service provider on the farm who knows what they are doing. Most of the people helping on the farm now, they either come from Benin Republic or from Togo. Most of our boys are not ready to work, and that's part of the problem we are facing too. So, Madam Buki, it's doable, don't worry. But when you come, we give you the system we are using and I advise you on what to do.
Very interesting. I like how Buki is going in on the questions. Please feel free to send your questions, and you can also send them info@thetopfarmer.ng. Remember that the focus, our agricultural produce focus, is cassava. If you've been following us for the last few weeks, that has been our focus, and we're trying to examine the different intricate details around cassava cultivation. And today, it's all about GAP in cassava cultivation. The GAP stands for, my goodness, why am I forgetting? Oh, so you will help me. GAP is good agronomical practices.
Yes.
So that's what it means. Thank God I passed the exam. All right. So we have some questions. Somebody says cyanide. Cyanide is a very dangerous compound or something to human health. Is there a particular variety of cassava without cyanide? If no, what are the possible ways to remove this substance from our diets?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Some of the cassava varieties we have now, they have little or no cyanide. So some of the varieties we have now, so they have little or no cyanide, because I told you we have more than 50, 60 different cassava varieties that we have now. So, and one thing about cyanide is that the moment you peel the cassava, you grate the cassava, you disintegrate it into pulps. So the cyanide, you break down the cyanide. That's one thing. So the moment you remove the water, some of the cyanide goes away. Then if you are soaking for food, you soak some of it going. So when you are drying again, so some of the cyanide goes away too. If at all, even the one that you have cyanide. But some of the cassava we have now, you can actually cook them raw and eat them. So they reduce the amount of cyanide very, some don't even have at all. With some that immediately you process it, the cyanide disappears. So thank you.
Okay, some more cassava questions for you, sir. Someone here with, I can't see your name. Please indicate your name so I can see clearly. This person says, so last week you mentioned varieties of cassava. How can we get information about the varieties of cassava and where can we get them in large quantity to plant them?
I know I told you last week that the value chain you are targeting determine the kind of varieties you are getting. So you need to know whether I want to do gari, food, flour, ethanol, or any form. So that's what will inform the kind of varieties you are getting. The amount of starch content you are getting determines the kind of varieties you are getting. So any kind of varieties you are getting is available. Any quantity of variety you are getting is available. So we don't have any problem with the variety you are getting. That's not a problem. It's not a problem. So variety is available, but you need to know the right variety you are looking for. And if you want to pick the right variety, just send an email to Top Farmer, so they'll be able to get you the kind of varieties and be able to work it for you. So thank you.
All right. So once again, I need to resound this. The purpose of you emailing is to show your clear intention. So we're not just here talking and giving information to anyone. You need to indicate that you really want to go further, no more. Send that email to info@thetopfarmer.ng. Now, this same person is asking another question, saying that, sir, do you mean that there is a particular type of cassava from which you can get many products, and there are some you cannot get many, which is the cassava that you can use to get starch, flour, many of the products? I don't know how to answer that question. He's trying to find out the most profitable type of cassava.
Normally, what people do most is, we have some native cassava and we have some improved cassava, but majorly the one we recommend for people like almost few ones. But I will tell you just only one. So we have what we call TME 419. So that one is a popular variety of cassava. And you have the one we call 1632, 058. So just have different kind of cassava varieties. But TME 419 is actually one of the best varieties for now. We have some other new varieties coming up now that can actually compete better. So just make an informed start. You get it.
Okay, so you mentioned the two types. I'm not sure if they heard clearly, but you can send your email. If you didn't hear clearly, there are scientific names. I myself, I was trying to, I did not know that such scientific names are assigned to cassava like that. TM something, 40 something. Wow. Okay, so please send the email to info@thetopfarmer.ng. That's a very nice question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This question. Somebody from saying,
okay.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Someone is saying, what are the major problems affecting cassava production in the Southwest, like where I am in Ogun and Oyo? How can we tackle this?
What are the major
problems affecting cassava in the Southwest?
Normally, we don't have a serious problem. One of the problems is opening of the land clearing, because we have a thick vegetation. So you need a lot of capital to invest in land clearing. That's number one. Then number two, because of this S-men that actually ravage the farm, that's another thing that we need to work together to make sure that the issue of S-men and everything actually gets settled, because it poses a lot of problems to the farms and all those challenges. That's part of the challenges. And then the issue of transportation. For you to make a proper profit on the farm, you need to reduce a lot of unnecessary overhead. There's a lot of unnecessary overhead that people engage in the farm. Then I've said it the other times that you need to cost each of the farm operations, from your land clearing, planting, harvesting, everything, to know the cost you accrue to each of the operations. So to know the profit you are making before you can actually plant and have someone that is going to buy from you. I think if you can solve all those problems, then cassava still remain the best crops. It still remains the best crops I've ever seen, because you don't need irrigation, you don't need the fertilizer. If you don't have money for fertilizer, you don't need irrigation. Whether it didn't stop for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, it doesn't concern cassava. You still get your product out. So, and after buying the first set of planting material, you don't need to spend money on planting material. You really need to preserve the one you have and replant again. So it's a good crop. It's a good crop. So that's it. So.
Okay, this question, I think this person is from somewhere in either in Europe, because the writing is funny. He says that when you harvest cassava in Nigeria and you want to sell the cassava, must you belong to a union or society or register to a distribution unit, or like where we are here, we run an open market where people can buy and sell anything?
No, you run an open market when you are dealing with cassava. You don't need to belong to any group for you to sell. No, you don't need it. Yeah, you don't need it.
Oh, I hope that answers your question. So you can come to Nigeria and start planting cassavas. It's open market, so that's a very nice one. All right, one more question. This one says, is there a virtual class for the training program on cassava farming? They're asking you if you intend to start some sort of classes. I don't know how that will play out. Practical classes where we can see a farm or whatever. Is that what you're asking? I'm sure that's what the person is asking. Is there a virtual class for the training program on cassava farming?
Yeah, we have different classes, depends on what you want. Just send out your email to Top Farmers. So you want to see, you want from beginning to the end, each of the operations, and you want to understand or to know each of the operations you have. Any form of training you want on cassava, either on post-harvest or different ones. So cassava mechanization, operation and everything. So we have. So just send your email to Top Farmer. So Top Farmer will get it across to the appropriate quarters and be able to get exposed to all the information, all the trainings you want. So everything is on ground when it comes to cassava, end to end. So thank you.
Very well. Thank you very much, sir. I think we've wrapped up on all the questions we have received for today, unless some just come in. I know you're a very busy man. Please, everyone tuning in from around the world, you do understand that schedules can be very, very crazy. So we really appreciate you for coming out once again, sir. In spite of your busy schedule, you came straight from your farm. Just to reiterate a few things you said, would you now summarize and let the viewers understand just how profitable cassava is? Because I'm sure a lot of people don't know that it's really one of the most profitable byproducts or farm produce in Nigeria.
Yeah, I've said it, I think last week that cassava is one of the most profitable operations you can go into. And then cassava is one of the crops you can never go wrong when you plant cassava. You can never go wrong. There's no how you plant cassava that something will not come out from it. There's no how you plant cassava. Whether you do a proper weeding or you don't even do a proper weeding, you get it. The only thing is that your yield can actually be reduced if you don't practice good agronomical practices. So that's the only thing. But you still get something out of cassava. So whether you know how to farm or you don't know how to farm, plant cassava, you get you get something out. But instead of, we measure the success of you record on cassava by tonnage. So if you do a proper farming operations, you should be able to get between 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 tons per hectare. But if you don't do it well, you can get 5 tons, you can get 10 tons. But when you now think of return on investment, that's why I'll be thinking that you don't make much money. But if you take it as a business, you get good yield, and you get good return on your investment, and when you look at the efforts you need to put into cassava farming compared to the efforts you need to put into other crops. Cassava is like you're putting just less than 50% of what you put in the other crops to get it out. Just like 50% of what you put in the other. When you talk of you're doing maize, you look at the land preparation for maize, the cost of maize, fertilizer application. When you are harvesting maize, when you harvest maize, when you trace it, storage and everything of the maize. When you look at even rice too, is a lot. So when you look at the effort you put in cassava operations, it's something that you can start your farming activities with before you even move to the other level. So now we're even trying to separate different options. We are even for the value addition, we're trying to move wet section from dry section. So when you have money to set up the wet section, set it, liaise with someone who wants to buy it from you, we call it pre-processing or farm gate processing. So those are the issues that we're going to be discussing next week on the value chain, on the value addition, on different value addition you have, and how you can engage in value addition. You can be a farmer, or you can be someone that you want to add value to it. So to obtain and add value to. So you can play a lot of value chain around the cassava operations. So thank you.
We just have one late entry. It just came in now. This will be our last, and we wrap it up for today, sir. I beg your pardon. This one says, did Mr. Niji say that farm hands come from neighboring countries like Togo and Benin Republic? How do we encourage Nigerians, especially young people, to embrace agriculture? Why is it seemingly unattractive?
That's a very big and good question. For us to encourage our young ones to go into farming or to go into a productive engagement. So firstly, they need to think of what they can do with Okada. Okada does not provide a sustainable means of living. So they need to find, if our government needs to be sincere, giving people Okada, advising people Okada, supporting people to ride Okada is not the way to go. So that's why you don't have a lot of people or a lot of artisans around, because they want a daily job. And it's not their fault. They're only looking for quick ways of living, and that's the best way they believe they understand. Now left our government to do a lot of programs to show them the reason why Okada is not good for you to live on. So that's number one. Number two is that the government really need to come up with different package of training and everything in farming, and different farming supports for the youth to make sure that farming is the way to go. So they need to do a lot of all those awareness and everything for our people to regain their consciousness and mindset back to the productive engagements. Another thing is that we need to engage in smart farming. People don't longer use hoes and cutlasses again. But when you look at the implement and the tractor and all those farming operations and everything you are using, it's a lot. So teaching youth on how to use drone to do the herbicide spraying and everything, teaching youth on how to do a lot of operations on the farm, on how to drive tractors, all those things. Those are the things government need to do. But how many governors really engage in all those sections whereby you have all the farm implement, all the farm operations kits, so that people will go and you like doing farming? That's why we say we need to make farming sexy. We need to invest the way they invest in the politics, in oil company and everything, the way they invest in bridges and everything, roads. So government need to look back and invest in farming, because that's the only thing that can give us good job opportunity and can make us to regain our FX, foreign exchange, that have been sinking. And since we can feed ourselves, we can export, at least we are done. We are good to go. So everything's like on government, but there's a little to what we can do. People like us, we have a training school, we have all this, we have all that. But how many that can develop that scheme to do all those things because they want the country to get better? Governments will start thinking of what the benefit or the taxes they will leverage on the people who are doing farming, and they won't do their job. And government believe that once they are in power, I think they believe that there are a lot of things that they need to do. They need to sit down with people that can talk to them to engage all these youth. We have brilliant youth and we have people who are really ready to work, but they miss in transit. So we need to call them back because Togo, Benin, they make a lot of money from all those people. They are the major labor you can have on the farm now. All the farms across Nigeria, they are the only ones. They are more than, I think, 80%. The Nigerian labor are just like 20%. So that's just it. So thank you.
Well, it's a wrap for today on the questions and answer session. In case you're just tuning in, you've missed a whole lot. We've been talking to Mr. Kolawole Adeniji. Once again, he's a trained mechanical engineering technologist with over 25 years experience working on
over 30 years experience. 30 years experience.
In fact, it is now 31. No. Yeah. It's 31 years experience because we're adding 2021 now on diverse agro projects all over Africa as well. He is a stakeholder. So if you're privileged to speak to him, it's not for nothing. That's what we do now. Every week, we're here talking and dissecting, interacting, of course, with stakeholders in the agricultural sector of the economy. Let us unearth some new potential, unearth new advancements, and let us bridge the gap between the top farmer and you. So we'll do it again next Friday, God willing, same time, between 4 to 5 p.m. I remain Manny Essien. Please endeavor to watch a nice video clip that sums up everything that we're trying to achieve on the platform. Thank you to everybody online. I really appreciate you, all of us from around the world. Buki, who was firing us questions today, and we defended ourselves very well, so no problem. Please bring on the questions, bring it on. Wherever you are from around the world, please bring on your questions. We are very, very sure and safe. We are verified by the EFCC, so there's no problem, okay? All the questions and answers are verified. Thank you to Ernest and EBX. Thank you to Buki. Thank you to Dele. Thank you to Bello. Thank you to Matthew, Kayode. Thank you to Anu. And if I miss your name, please forgive me for that. And everybody else who's out there, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. This is the Top Farmer Speaks. Adios.
Have you ever wished for the opportunity to fully understand the agricultural and the agribusiness sector of the economy?
This year is a great year to grow cassava, selling it for as high as 35,000 naira per ton.
You've heard about the monies that can be made from the sector, but you don't know where to start. Good money. Welcome to the Top Farmer. This is the rural settlement somewhere in Oyo State. Welcome to Oslat and Kubot Farms, Ijare, Ogun State. Now here we are, Sabo Market, right in the heart of Oyo Town.
You can see there is lack of nutrients.
You don't have a farm and you don't have chickens. What do you have? You have the money.
Yes.
Mechanical peeler is the one spinning, right?
Exactly.
It spins the cassava and takes out some of the stuff from it.
You lost 4 million naira in one day.
Recover the money again.
What is the capacity?
We have about 60,000 birds.
60,000 birds.
The Newcastle disease that is mentioned is a disease that is endemic in Nigeria.
If there's any insect, the chemical will eat the insect and the insect will die.
That's the major hazard you face.
Funny enough, if anything goes into the pond, the fishes will eat it.
Let's just stay out of the water for now.